We've all been there, right? That sudden burst of inspiration hits, and you think, this is it. This is the week I'm finally going to hit the gym, start that business, learn that new skill. But then, a few days later, poof, the fire's gone. So why does that happen? Well, it turns out most of us have been betting on the wrong horse. Today we're going to dig into the real battle here, motivation versus discipline, and figure out what actually drives lasting success.
This sentence right here, this is the key to everything we're about to talk about. Just think of motivation like the weather. It's a feeling, it's completely unreliable, and you have zero control over it. Discipline, on the other hand, that's the shelter you build. It's a system designed to protect your progress, no matter if it's sunny or if there's a full-blown hurricane going on outside.
All right, so here's our game plan for today.
First, we're going to expose the motivation trap. Then, we'll see why discipline is a system. After that, we'll dive into the mindset of grit, uncover the surprising truth that discipline creates true freedom, and finally, we'll get to the ultimate goal, becoming the disciplined person.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the motivation trap. It's this idea we've all been sold that we have to wait to feel motivated before we can act. But honestly, that's just a recipe for failure, because as we're about to see, our feelings are probably the most unreliable guides we could ever follow.
To really get this, we've got to look at how our own brains are wired. See, we evolved to do two things really well: conserve energy and seek comfort. So when you're faced with a tough workout or a difficult project, your brain doesn't see a long-term investment. Nope, it sees a threat to its precious energy supply. That powerful, I just don't feel like it voice in your head. That's basically your ancient survival programming kicking in.
And this really shows the two completely different ways of operating. The motivated brain is all about chasing those quick dopamine hits. It loves the idea of starting things, but the second it gets hard, it crashes. The disciplined mind, though, it's playing a different game. It's looking for identity congruence, making your actions match who you want to be. It doesn't run from discomfort, it actually embraces it. It trades all that emotional volatility for simple, boring, behavioral consistency.
Okay, so if relying on our feelings is the problem, then building systems has to be the solution. This is the big turning point, you know? It's where we stop trying to brute force our way through with willpower and instead start to actually engineer our own success. And the key to engineering discipline comes from James Clear's amazing work in Atomic Habits. It's called the habit loop. Now, this isn't some kind of magic trick. It's the actual neurological blueprint for pretty much everything you do, good and bad. Understanding this loop, man, it's like getting the owner's manual for your own brain.
So this loop pretty much runs our entire lives, and it breaks down into 4 simple steps. First is the cue. That's the trigger, like your alarm clock going off. Then comes the craving, the desire. You want to feel awake. The response is the action itself. You make a cup of coffee. And finally, the reward is the payoff. That first, warm, wonderful sip. The real secret to discipline isn't about finding more willpower, it's about hacking this loop. You just make the cues for your good habits super obvious, and the cues for your bad habits totally invisible.
And here's why that loop is so incredibly important. Just look at this chart. That small bar on the left, that's sporadic motivation. You know, those heroic, all-out efforts that feel great but then totally fizzle out. Now, look at that tall bar. That's daily discipline. It's not built on intensity, it's built on consistency. Small, systematic actions compounded over time will absolutely crush short-term passion every single time. Consistency is the engine.
But look, a system is just a machine. It's not going to run itself. It needs a power source. And that source is your mindset. This is where we start talking about the internal stuff, the qualities that keep that system running even when things get really, really tough. Researcher Angela Duckworth has the perfect word for this power source: grit. It's a combination of passion and perseverance. But the real key ingredient here is perseverance over very long-term goals. See, passion is great for getting you started. But grit is what keeps you going day in and day out, long after that initial excitement has become a distant memory. Author Stephen Pressfield talks about this invisible force that stops us, called resistance, and the only way to beat it is by turning pro. Think about it. The amateur athlete or artist or entrepreneur, they only work when they feel inspired. The professional? They understand that their feelings are completely irrelevant. They have a schedule and they stick to it. They show out, especially on the days they really don't want to. Which brings us to David Goggins' whole philosophy. Motivation might feel soft and comforting, but discipline? Discipline is savage. It's relentless. And this isn't just about showing up like a pro. It's about actively seeking out hardship to callous your mind.
By voluntarily doing difficult things, you prove to yourself over and over that discomfort has zero power over you. And that makes the daily discipline for your actual goals feel almost easy by comparison.
So, why do all this, right? Why build these systems and callous our minds? It all sounds so restrictive. But here's the great paradox. Discipline doesn't actually cage you in. It's the very thing that sets you free.
See, there are really two types of freedom. On one side, you've got lazy freedom. That's the freedom from discomfort. It feels good in the moment, sure, but it's a total trap that makes you a slave to your every impulse. But on the other side, you've got earned freedom, and that's the freedom to choose your own path. This is the freedom that comes from discipline. It's having financial options, having physical capability, having creative control. It doesn't just give you pleasure, it gives you real power.
This is the core idea that Jocko Willink preaches. Every single time you make the disciplined choice, you aren't just getting that one thing done. You are literally expanding your future potential. You're becoming a more capable, more resilient, and more powerful version of yourself. Your future opportunities actually multiply.
And all of this leads us to the final and honestly the most powerful stage of all. This is where we move beyond just doing disciplined things and we start to focus on being a disciplined person. This is all about identity.
So the final piece of this whole puzzle is understanding that self-control has levels. A lot of us start at the bottom, right? We're driven by fear or by rewards. But the end game, the real goal is level 5, identity. This is the big shift. You no longer go to the gym because you have to, you go because you are an athlete. You don't write because it's on your to-do list, you write because you are a writer. When your actions are just a natural extension of your identity, the need for discipline almost melts away. It's just who you are.
So forget about motivation. Stop waiting around for the right feeling to strike. The real question isn't about what you feel like doing. It's about who you want to become. And that journey, it doesn't start with some giant leap. It starts with a single, small, disciplined action. So, what will yours be?